Hello everyone, nice to see you all. It's been quite a long time, and today we have some news that you've seen on Monday and today, and eventually some more topics you would like to discuss, and a surprise which we didn't know we would have today, which you can see here on my side, which is that we received the first ever example of Kickstarter edition display. And of course we have opened some boosters, and here you can see the design of the boosters. Personally, I love them. I find them very shiny and very beautiful. We have even opened one of them, and before we deep dive into the questions, we wanted to show you the story about the QR codes, because we have shared this topic with you in the news on Monday. And here is the booster that I have opened. So you will find in it all the cards you know from Altered. By the way, if you want to scan the QR codes, they are already registered, so no, not such a good idea, but you can try. And first example of a card I wanted to show you is Gulrang, which is a foiled hero, since in the Chaos Edition all the heroes will be foiled. So this is just to show you how the foil render on Gulrang. Yeah, thank you here. And just to show you, it's not a chips, you know, it's not bending, at least for now. We never know, but for now it's a perfect card. And about the QR codes, so in these boosters, we took it for the examples, and that's a good example. So just a reminder, it only concerns the cards that will be delivered, the Chaos Edition cards that will be delivered in the United States. So this does not no, I mean, this is only for the boosters we are delivering for Europe, because those ones come from Cartamundi. And as explained in the news, the boosters made by Cartamundi are difficult to make. We need two machines, one to print the cards, one to print the QR codes. And when you assemble both cards and within the machines that make the QR code, in some cases you have some very little differences for the QR code printing. And Pierre is gonna show you that with this one. So here we've picked up in this booster, so I can show you. This is here, this card, the Kelonic Generator, which has its QR code slightly off-centered. And the rest of the cards in the booster, if you want to show here. Yeah, here you have some of the cards from the same booster, where the QR code is perfectly aligned, or very close to perfectly aligned. So this is the only little issue you will find with the Kickstarter boosters coming from Cartamundi. By the way, you will see the same thing with any altered card coming from Cartamundi, as long as they are printed on the offset printer. Which means basically any card you will open in a booster from Cartamundi will have this little thing here eventually off-centered, until Cartamundi maybe in the future finds a way to make it perfectly centered. But if you use a print-on-demand service, of course, because this is digital, the QR code will always be perfectly centered. So for the US market, you will not see any QR code off-centered. In Europe, some of them will be. And I don't know if you have first questions about this specific topic, the card or the QR codes, before we go on further topics. Pierre, eventually? No? Everybody is stand in front of my selling skills, right? I can also show you the products in the meantime. So as I said, the boosters are just gorgeous. And this is the Kickstarter edition display, which even states the number of booster packs you will find within. So, do we have a first question, Pierre? Yes, we have one. That's me, my name. I saw the pop-up, I thought it was a question. If there are no questions, I recommend the booster opening. Why not? Do you want me to do booster opening, or do you want to do the booster opening, Pierre?
No.
I can do it? All right. So, because this is the first ever booster opening that will be live on the internet, and because we are aware that these QR codes you will see from this booster might be easily stolen, I will try to show you the first attempt to make a booster opening with no mistake on my side. And if I do, then, well, one of you will be the lucky one. So I can see you already with your screenshots. So just a reminder, this is a Kickstarter edition booster, which means the contents might vary from one to another. For example, in this first booster, we've been quite lucky. We've had 5 rare cards, whereas you could have 4 rare cards and unique as well, which would be the best thing you could ever get besides the golden booster. Can you imagine if I get a golden booster on my first booster opening? And besides this, we could also get as low as 3 rares only, but we will see. Is that a golden booster? So here is the first card. This is the hero. As any other hero from the Kickstarter edition, it is foiled. You can see it's at Sadie and Serge. I don't even see it on my side, but I see it on the screen and it seems very beautiful. The next card, a common card. I'm not a professional of booster opening, so I do it my way. We have Heaven Warrior. Are we not spoiling some cards here, Pierre, at the same time, eventually? We might be spoiling some cards we haven't yet spoiled, so we always find new ways to do that. That's cool. Axiom Reprocessor. So I don't know if you see the text from here, if some of you want to screen in case this is a leak, but no, it doesn't. No, it's not good enough. Yongsu Verdant Weaver, so still a common card. Lyra Thespian, another common card. And we are closer to the precious cards. Quetzalcoatl, the Ordis version. Izmir Stargazer. And I think we are reaching... How many cards do we have? Yeah, here we might start seeing something. So I think this one is either a rare or a common card. It has a 50-50 chance to be one of both. Let's see if we are lucky. No, we are not. This is a common card. Ordis Cadets. This one has to be a rare or a unique card. And this is a rare, this is Ogun. I have no idea if this one's been spoiled. We have Aloe Vera, which is, I guess, the out-of-faction version of a Muna card. This one should be eventually the unique one, if we have one. And no. Unlucky. Oh, maybe. Oh, there is one last behind. This is Charge from the Ordis faction. And another rare card, Lady of the Lake. So on this slot, we had 50% chance of getting a common or 50% chance of getting a rare. We got a rare. Whereas on the other slot, where we had the same chance, we didn't get the rare. So we had 4 rares and no unique cards, unfortunately. As a reminder, the unique cards are 1 in every 6 boosters, if I'm correct, because this is a Kickstarter edition. And at the end of any booster, you will find a token, and this one is Buddha. So I hope you enjoyed this first ever booster opening. This was the same for me, never done that before, but it's part of the job. Do you have any questions?
Yes.
No. Next question. What is the final print run size of KS booster boxes? This is not a number we can communicate. This is the type of information we keep in-house. But You might, I mean, I think you can even calculate it, at least based on the information available on Kickstarter. The thing is, we ordered slightly more of those because the shop owners, the LGSs, have eventually ordered via a different system, and we have also ordered some spare just in case. You know, you always order some spare just in case you lose some or whatever. So there is like a 5% extra product ordered, but I cannot give you the final number now. Is the wrapping in paper or plastic? It's not, I'm not a specialist, but this is the usual wrapping you find on most of the boosters you've been opening for years now, which is some type of aluminum or metallic plastic. I think you are all used to this type of boosters. I can come back to the topic of paper. We've discussed with Cartamundi because even 2 years ago when we visited them for the first time, they shown us what they can do in paper. They were doing already that for some of the brands that I'm not gonna quote. But it was said that the technology at this time wasn't ready for delivering sustainability on the long term, and that paper version boosters would not last more than 3 to 5 years in a correct state, whereas this type of technology makes the boosters, I mean, you've seen Magic booster openings even nowadays are still perfect in terms of quality of cards and booster flow wrap. So we wanted to ensure you wouldn't be disappointed about that. But as soon as we could change of the technology from this one to paper, or at least to something we can recycle and that does not pollute as eventually those boosters do, we would like to do it. So we will still keep monitoring the technology, because in the end there is not much of a big of a difference in pricing between different types of booster flow wrap, but that's all a question of how long we want them to last. What will be the approximate percentage of French versus English KS booster boxes? Oh my god, someone is trying to retro-engineer the mathematics behind. and honestly, just like this, I cannot tell you. I know France has been very big, so probably French version is, even if I like to give it, I don't know, maybe 15 to 20% of the total, something like this. I could be totally wrong, but that's huge. I mean, compared to the whole of the orders for every country, every nationality, that's probably, I don't know, 25, 30%, I don't know, something around. Is Ozma in Beyond the Gate or later sets? I will ask to Pierre because I have no idea. He isn't sure either, so I'd say keep this question for the game designers. We might bring them to the microphone one day or the other. I don't have the full list of cards in mind at the moment, sorry. Will the July batch being sent to Europe first be mostly French KS product? Well, if I mean, we send all of Europe as soon as we have it. So if French yes, French version is the majority of the European orders. So yes, French version will be the majority of the Europe sendings. Ratio, like I have no idea if it's like 60% of all of Europe or 40 or 50, but that's probably a big number. Are you confident about the strength of the uniques? Are they always better than rares? So what I can tell you, and this will be an opportunity for a talk with the game designers, and in particular Jacques, who is the one who crafted, one who worked most on the unique cards, and he's a crafter of the unique cards. He will come and speak to you about those, but from my understanding of how they were designed, we try, yes, for sure, to make them better than rare cards. But sometimes better doesn't mean strictly better. Like you just add one more stat to a card which overall is exactly the same and it just gains something. Sometimes we wanted to offer the unique cards as a way to play differently. So the unique cards are most of the time trying to do something which is not really comparable to the base version of the card. Sometimes it is, like you might have a 4/4/4 for, I don't know, 3 manas, and the unique ones might be 5/4/4 for 3 manas. And if this is the only difference, then that's all fine. Pierre, can you help me with the TV stating it wants to shut down? Just a second. Otherwise, I won't see you anymore. Okay, not working. No. Oh, okay, finally. And in some cases, and in many cases, the unique cards will be strictly different, which means that your 4/4/4/3, which is the rare version, might turn into, I don't know, a 2/2/4 for 4 mana, which makes you draw 2 cards and recycle something. And this will be just completely different. The thing we've tried to do is we've tried to identify for every card that would turn into unique cards, so every character card, that they have something special in themselves. And if a card by design is recycling, for example, or doing something special, we want to keep that into the unique version. And we want to iterate based on what makes this card specific. So this way, we know that every flavor, or most of the flavor of the unique cards, will be cycling around something that will always remain as the soul of the card. Otherwise, we could simply just mix up everything, and you might see cards that do something that other cards already do just because they would odd mix up their abilities, and this is not something we want. And in terms of power, basically on our side we thought about a 5% increase in power, but when you sit on the cards, since some of them will play very differently from others, this is not a 5% doesn't mean much. In fact, that will be a question of how you make the best out of them, and I'm pretty sure some of you will find very exciting stuff to do with the cards, with the unique cards I have, and some of the other unique cards will be more basics, eventually more powerful, but more basics in their approach. Sometime in July. Around mid-July to end of July. It's not something we cannot give you one date. Everybody lives in different places. We use different transporters, service providers, and so it should be escalated in somewhat 2 weeks, something like this. Could you give us already some big known events where we could test Altered soon? Oh, yes, of course. I think we've already gave away some information, but we will be at UK Game Expo in Birmingham, close to London. That will be at the end of the month for the whole event. And then we will fly to, well, first we will drive to the Flip, which is a festival in France, in the western part of France, left of Paris. This is a 2-week festival in a medieval city, which is very nice. We will be there. And we will be at Gen Con this year. We will also be at Gamescom at the end of August. And we will be at maybe Vichy in France in September. I'm not sure about this one. We will be at Essen in Germany in October, and we should be at Lucca in Italy in October too. And we are planning, but not yet confirmed, to go to PAX U in December in Philadelphia, United States. That's all the dates I can pretty sure give you right now. And if we do some smaller events, I'm not aware of them all at the moment, but that might happen. Have any of the planned events been impacted by the shift in deliveries? The only one that's been impacted is Gen Con, because at first we wanted to sell the Altered products at Gen Con, the retail products at Gen Con, like a pre-release just for Gen Con, because Gen Con is big in the US. This is not going to happen in the end. because we are only delivering the Kickstarter edition for the US market in August, we didn't want people to feel a little sad that you could buy the retail product at Gen Con, whereas you wouldn't even have received your KS edition product. It didn't seem right. So instead, we just don't sell anything at Gen Con. But we will have some products with us, some retail products to distribute as reward and so on at Gen Con. So if you attend Gen Con, just follow us on social and you will see a lot of occasions for you to get some of them. You might even register to the event on the Gen Con website. But if you plan to buy something from Gen Con, like displays and so on, that won't be doable. So you will have to wait for the 13th of September. Do you think you are going to have problems with out of stock like the latest TCGs released over the past? So, difficult question, because I could say yes, I could say no, and I could be true or I could be wrong in both cases. What we can tell you is that we've decided to be confident and believe in the fact that we want to be here on the long term. And our belief is that because this is a first edition, in most cases, with most TCGs, a first edition is always something that keeps a lot of value on the long term. So we've decided to go with some huge quantities to ensure that we believe the market is not going to lack products. At the same time, we believe that if we don't sell as much as we planned and we have a lot of products remaining, that if the game goes well on the long term, we are going to sell those products anyway, because this is the first edition. So we would say, and we might be wrong, because if the success is such overwhelming that we will be wrong, that might happen, but we have decided to go above our analytics. We've raised our quantities just in case, just to be sure that at least based on our expectations, we will be okay. And you should eventually see less shortage as well, because the Kickstarter edition helps a lot to narrow the quantities needed for the market, because many people have ordered the Kickstarter edition. But at the same time, we've discovered that some countries, some continents have been eager to get some products and have barely seen the Kickstarter, like Asia or South America and so on. And we know the community is growing very, very strongly. I don't know if you've seen on social media recently, I think you haven't done the post about Taiwan, Pierre, not yet, but there has been an event in Taiwan organized purely by fans, for which they had translated all the game by themselves, the cards, the rules, everything, printed the games, the decks themselves, and they have gathered like how many? 80, 100 players, 80 players, 100 players, just by themselves. I mean, and that was crazy from our point of view, because we didn't spend any time on helping Taiwan to do something. And so we also expect what we call the rest of the world to like the game and to eventually buy the retail product, even if it's in English and not translated to Chinese or Korean, etc., or Japanese, to become fan of the game. So, well, I made a long answer, I know, but just to sum up, we are confident that you should not suffer as much as with some other games from a shortage. And if it happens, by the way, remember one thing we said on Monday in the article, we've decided to go with 2 chain of productions, right, because we've had the issue with the Kickstarter edition, where you've been helping us so much on the Kickstarter that we couldn't produce everything with only Carta Mundi. And now that we have set up the production line with Boss Card Producer, if in the future we need to collab for both again, we will be able to do it. So that's a way to be more flexible than some others that have only one reliable card producer at the moment. Is there a concern that the POD delay will confuse new players at launch? A concern, of course. I mean, it would be a lie if we would tell you that there is no concerns at all and that we are happy with the way the things are going, because of course we would like the POD and the marketplace to be ready in July like everyone else, and that would have been a perfect scenario. So, not gonna lie, this is not the scenario we wanted, but this is the scenario we have, and we explain why in the article. So if you have more questions about this, do not hesitate. And you said new players. I'd say one of the things that is not going to help is that if you had day one marketplace and print on demand available, you as fans, at least you could enjoy your hobby with all the options. And also, if you wanted to bring in some new people that you know into the hobby, you could show them everything that Altered is bringing to the table. And as you know already, Altered is bringing a lot, especially in terms of innovation compared to the other existing TCGs. And this part you cannot show. So of course, if you want to convince someone coming into the hobby, a new player, it's harder because you will lack some elements of to convince them. So I do not believe this is going to prevent new players from coming to the hobby in big numbers. It's just gonna be not eventually as big for new players that it could have been, because not everybody in the end is interested in technology. Most players play a card game because they want to play with cards, and you will get the cards. So the very least and the very minimum we wanted to offer to you all is to stick to our dates and deliver the products to you so you can play with the game. And we believe new players, the first thing you usually do with friends is you offer them to try the game. So you can talk about the advantages, technology, and so on, but usually you offer them to play a game, and you will have starter decks or you want decks to do that. So that should be globally fine. And even more, I mean, new players, because you might eventually think, yes, what if new players don't have access to the cards because there is a shortage? And as I said previously, we do not expect a shortage to happen. So we should have enough cards for new players that haven't yet dived into Altered yet. Is there a chance the Kickstarter items could be delivered before the new date for US? If there is, of course, we will make it happen. Do I know anything about that I could spoil you? No. But if by any chance we can deliver sooner, we will. And I mean, if it's 1 week or something, we might not even make a big news about it. It will just happen, and some of you will be lucky. Maybe all of you will be lucky. And well, anyway, one thing we know for sure is, of course, the transporters will tell us about it, but we will hear from you on social media as soon as you receive your Kickstarter edition. So we are not worried in getting to know who will receive what first in the US. We are pretty sure you will tell us. Any news on the Game Genius supplies Kickstarter delivery estimates? So, there is a yes and there is a but. Yes, I have some informations, but they are not confirmed. So I don't want to give them to you right now. This will come up a little later because, as you can see, we are in some cases for a 3 weeks discrepancy in between Europe and US. That's already a topic. So here, if I tell you something and it's in fact it's 2 weeks later or 1 week sooner or whatever, this is gonna be a mess. So I don't wanna engage in this conversation right now. But yes, there will be news at some point. Overprinting is a big issue with TCGs. How will Altered be cautious of this pitfall? So overprinting is a big issue. It depends. At first, this is us spending a lot of money to print cards that we do not sell eventually. So we paid the product to Cartamundi or Ludofact, and it sticks on our back, and we have just a loss of treasury for time being. Which, as I said before, we are confident that if Altered goes well and sticks in the future, that because this is the first edition of the game, this won't be such an issue anymore. At some point, we are going to sell those products. And so we are not anyway overprinting in quantities that are absolutely insane. We have just decided to be confident and to overprint a little to ensure there will be no market shortage. Second point is we had to make a choice. You never fall right. I mean, you've seen some recent release, nobody's felt right. You have to make assumptions way before you sell your product even to the local game stores, because you need to produce them a long time in advance. You need to book the production from Carta Mundi and others a long time in advance, and then it means you have to bet. You make a bet, especially when you haven't yet sold anything. You make a bet based on your market analysis, on what you expect, what you feel like is going to happen from your social media perspective and so on, but in the end you make a bet. And sometimes you fall short, sometimes you are too heavy on your orders, and the game is trying to be as perfect as possible. So we believe we chose to overprint a little compared to our expectations, rather than going short and reprint. And even more, we know we have more options eventually than others to reprint if needed, but we are confident that a core set is going to be a success if the game is a success. Even if it takes more time to sell, this is a core set. This is the first edition. Which TCG has had a first edition which for a long-term surviving TCG wasn't successful? I don't think I have any examples. So that's how we made our decision on this point. I assume we will still be drafting at Gen Con even with the KS delays. Yes. That, I mean, we could be in bad luck and what's happening outside? Okay, whatever. And the thing is, we are not in control of everything. We need to ship the cards to Gen Con. So we have a special shipment for Gen Con, which, by the way, at Gen Con, you're not going to draft with the KS edition. You're going to draft with the retail edition and play with the retail edition. So we have a small batch of those products which have been produced separately from the rest and which are going to be sent by plane to the US because it's faster. It's very expensive, but for Gen Con we do that for those products we need. And so unless some unfortunate event happen, like an accident or whatever, we do not hope for that, we should be fine for Gen Con. We are confident. Let's see. Anyway, we will be there, and fingers crossed. Do the foilers also have the blue back? I'm not sure. Oh, yes, this one here, right? Yes, I think this is the same card. I might be wrong. It's just not fresh in my mind. I haven't studied this question before today, very recently, but in my souvenirs, that's the card back. And if I'm wrong, anyway, the community will tell you because they know better than I do, probably. Are there any plans to involve more English social media influencers, spread the name of Altered? Yes. I think I can reveal part of the plan, not going by the numbers, but we are planning to help influencers make content on all 5 continents. So we have a big plan with dozens of kits for main influencers. So I'm just saying that because we cannot send a kit like this, which is a very premium kit, to everyone. We are currently in a selection process, working hand to hand with Asmodee in every country to ensure that names we think about are cross-referenced by their market knowledge in local, so that we have the right people. And of course, we also want to reward those who've been doing a lot with a lot of influential power since the beginning. So it's currently being built. This plan is being built, and it's planned for the delivery and for the release of the game in late August, early September. So it's not for the coming 2-3 months. It's for a bit later. But yes, we are working on this. We are also working on another media campaign, like we did for the Kickstarter. And we also have the help of Asmodee to communicate and spread the words via their newsletters. We have now a huge base as well through the Kickstarter and on our social media. So all in all, we do not lack means of communication. And but the influencer part, we are very proud of what we are currently doing for them. We hope they will enjoy. Outside is the end of the world in Paris right now. It's sunny and it's the end of the world at the same time. The weather, I don't know how it's possible. You showed Buddha's cure. Sure. I'm not sure I've shown it. Did I? Maybe. Who wants the Buddha? That's probably the least expensive card ever. So if this is the first one that someone steal it right now, okay? Because this will be the first ever Buddha. Remember that. You can collect the video on YouTube after and tell everyone that's yours Buddha. But thank you for notifying. Will you make also sleeves that have maybe characters, elementals? What is an elemental? Companions? Shadowblade. About sleeves making, this is not a process we decide just on our own. We have discussions ongoing with GameGenic for every new set. And what we do is we show them what we are doing at the moment, what are our tracks, our ideas for the next sets, what we've drawn, the drafts we have, and so on, the inspirations. And we show them as much as we can so they understand where we are going and what could be done. And also because they are the ones that take the financial risks about the GameGenic products. They pay for the products and they take the money from what they sell. We do not take the money from what they sell. But because this is them putting the money on the table, this is their decision onto what they want to see as sleeves or playmats or whatever. And so I cannot answer your question, but that might be worth asking GameGenic one day or the other. Remember, during the Kickstarter, we did one AMA with Adrian Alonso. Eventually, we might do one again one day or the other. I don't know when, not today, not tomorrow, but why not? But this is good that you give us feedbacks about ideas you would like to see implemented, because since we have discussions with GameGenic, we relay the opinion of the community too, and your opinion is very important to us. In the end, you are the one buying those products, so better be products you love than products you don't want. They prefer an opening instead of asking a question to finish the AMA. Are you sure you don't want to do it, Loki? You see, he's not high on social, but he's... we can do that? But you don't have any cosplay. All right. So, do you want the chair? Fix the chair. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, your turn to open the booster. Maybe they... Okay, I will put my microphone next to you.
Yeah. Candle. Because cannot see the chat anymore.
So I just need to remind that this booster has not yet been registered.
Yeah. It's mine.
This is Rin and Orchid, new hero. Foil. This is very nice. I will keep it. You know what? I want to try to be your fan. Okay. I'm gonna fail at some point, that's for sure.
Oh,
Am I correct? Yes, I am correct. Oh, Anubis. I know this one. Very beautiful colors. My second fan. Am I still correct? Yes.
we are unique.
We have a unique? Why did you spoil? Okay, I think they all want to go to the unique card. Okay. Somewhere over the rainbow. Okay, okay.
Maybe we can just all close it down and we go to the rare and unique.
Yeah, I think we will go to the unique cards. Sorry, no QR code for you. This one is nice. Ah. We have the council. I have no idea what's been spoiled here.
Remember.
And this is a unique card. Can we show it with the text and try to be good? So I hope you internet engineers will be able to make the focus we are not able to do on the card. So you can see the text, I think the numbers. So I can eventually read it to you. I will read it out loud. So it's Yangsu Verdant Weaver. The first mana cost is 3. The reserve mana cost is 4. It's a 3/3/4, so 3 forest, 3 mountain, and 4 water. The first power is an ETB, so it's an enter the board from anywhere power. So it means you play from your hand or from your reserve, it does its power. And it says, if you have 3 or more base statistics of 0 among characters you control, draw a card. So a base statistics of 0 means one of the statistics on the side that would be a 0. So basically this means if you have another card in play that has 0, 0, 0 as base stats, even if it's modified by bonuses, this one is gonna make you draw a card when you play it. So it can be comboed with another card that has 0, 0, 0 on its stats when you play it from anywhere. And the reserve power is discard me, and you may return a spell from your reserve to your hand. So I have no idea what is the comparison with the rare version of the card, and we do not have the rare version of the card here, but we are pretty sure you guys are going to find it if it's been spoiled. Otherwise it will be spoiled very soon anyway. That's the first ever unique card we opened in any official booster of the Kickstarter edition ever.
We want to give it away.
I want to give it away?
You are.
Do I want to do that? I think it's risky.
Yeah.
Maybe it might be too risky. I know. I leave this kind of stuff to Pierre. He might give it away later on by mistake. I mean, your responsibility, not mine. No, sorry, no. One last question?
No.
All right, perfect. Thank you, community. And anyway, if you had questions that weren't answered or asked, you can come to us on social anyway. And if we need to do another AMA one day or the other, we will do it. So don't worry, we stick next to you. Thank you all. See you soon. Bye-bye.